Welcome to the Unbridled Enthusiasm Podcast. I'm Mark Poulos, and that voice you heard was Randy Ankarlo. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you.
You've already said something, so you can start talking again.
I ruined the intro.
Oh, that's all right. These people have heard the intro 100 times. Sometimes they want to hear it mixed up. Maybe I should have had you do the intro, Randy.
Let's restart.
So let's start it out. Apparently, you're in love with me. Let's talk about this. We are in Duluth, Minnesota. Is this Duluth?
Or is this Hermantown?
Okay. Well, we did a show at the Beacon in Hermantown. Beautiful bar. It's a really nice place. First time they did comedy. So obviously a little kinks in the armor. Kind of trying to figure things out. We lost a couple mics during the show, and
we lost two.
Yeah, the back bar was watching the hockey game, and a lot of chatter.
Lots of chatter.
A couple douchebag hecklers. All in all, yep. I think it went well. But while I was on stage, Randy was trying to sext with his girlfriend, and he accidentally sent the message to me, and it was kind of funny.
Sorry about
it
the
just
dick
said,
pic.
I love you. And then, oh, wrong person. You're on stage. How did you feel about last night, Randy? I think you had a really good set.
I thought it was all right. They were, you can't tell when you're up there. They were all
like 2 or 3 huge applause breaks last night. You know, you always get a huge one on the Brett Favre joke. That one always kills, especially in this area.
Yeah, then
being so close to Minnesota, Wisconsin. And keep your eyes open, folks, for the new Old Spice stripper T-shirt coming out soon.
Yeah. I'll hopefully get those ordered this week.
Well, that's nice. I thank you for this weekend. I mean, I don't think this weekend would have existed without your hand in getting this going. So
you did half of it.
Well, we did all right.
Yeah.
After this podcast, I'm taking you out for a nice Sammy's Pizza. Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Randy, always on the show, always talking about Dustin Diamond.
So we have
Dustin is, well,
we have to do an update.
I don't want to spend too much time on it. I think we've done 2 hours on Dustin Diamond, and I don't want you to feel like the only reason I have you on the show is so we can dish about Dustin Diamond. But
it's all right. So
he is presently in prison.
He finally appealed withdrew his appeal.
Okay. I suppose he just figured I might as well just get to it.
Yeah,
get to the ass raping. How many people do you think are beat? Like, there was a story in the news the other day about Jared that like he's so under stress in there that he like goes down to the lunchroom and like eats an entire box of honey buns by himself, and he's gained 30 pounds in like a month and a half or something.
I thought it was like 50. Yeah, 30 pounds.
They're like smacking him around in there, and like was there a different guy that just got attacked in prison, or was that Jared?
Was it Jared?
I feel like somebody else got like somebody well known that had to go to jail for a bit, got attacked by somebody, and it was big news. But I know there was a story about him getting smacked around in the lunchroom by some other prisoner, and he just kind of stood there and took it. Because like what else are you gonna do?
All right, he's in general population then?
Yeah. And that's like the worst thing ever I've heard, at least from TV shows and movies, that if you go to prison as a child molester or whatever, they'll beat the shit out of you and like mess with you and shit. But I mean, prison does not sound fun at all.
No, it sounds terrible. Especially if you have to see Dustin Diamond in there.
I wonder if it's like Tropic Thunder, where they just force him to do the "You were saved by the bell," and then at the end he just gets ass raped.
Not this time, Dustin.
That would be a horrible life in prison for 4 months. You'd have to do the Saved by the Bell episodes every week. Time for our morning Saved by the Bell episode, you know. It sounds like something they would do like in the 50s prison time, because I'm sure like the way the prison system is now, they probably have full cable and Netflix and Hulu and all that shit. So
jail's not even. I spent one night in jail.
You did?
Yeah.
When was this?
Back in 2010.
2010.
When I got a DUI back then. And
so what's the story of the night? Let's get into this. So you were out drinking with some buddies.
It's actually, funny enough, we did La Crosse, Wisconsin together the night before I got my DUI.
Son of a bitch. Was this my fault?
No. No.
Where did you go after La Crosse?
I went home to...
So you drove home to Duluth, got drunk, and got a DUI in Duluth?
Yeah, the next night.
Jesus, man. It's fucking Duluth. Get an Uber.
It was stupid. Well,
was there Uber in 2010?
No.
Probably not.
Not up here, even.
Yeah.
There wasn't in 2010. So I drank
Wait, was
a lot.
it wintertime?
It was in May.
All right, listen. This is the stupidest DUI I've ever heard. It's May in Duluth. You can't walk like 10 miles. Come on.
Oh, I was living at my grandma's house in Superior.
So
it was across a bridge.
I've had in my career, in my life, I've had 3 close calls with a DUI, and frankly, the one I'm still surprised to this day that I wasn't arrested. I was doing the Skyline, and me and Rob Breckenridge and this female comedian, I think her name was Lauren Garcia or something like that. Very beautiful. I mean, this was like 2004, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I was auditioning to work for the Skyline, so Rob got me on the show, and then we went out drinking afterwards, and everybody got drunk, and I just had driven us over there in my car, so they're like, well, you have to drive. And
oh, my God.
I was like, oh, my God. So I stupidly pulled a U-turn in the middle of the street, and the cop immediately pulled me over, and then the chick's like, let me handle this, and she kind of like leaned over me and was like flirting with the cop, telling him we were the comics from the Skyline and don't give us a hard time. And she's like, there'll be tickets waiting for you at the window. And I was like, this is bribery. Yeah. And he let me go. Did
he come to the show the next night?
I was just spotting, so I had to go to someplace else the next day, but I didn't ever hear if he did or not. But I was like, holy shit, that was so scary. Like,
right. And
then I had one where I got drunk at like a backyard barbecue, and they had like keg beer.
Oh, God.
And I was like going to my car, and there was a girl sitting on this was like, I think second year of college maybe. And this girl was like crying on the curb on the street. And I was like, why are you crying? And she was like, oh, all my friends left. I've got no ride home or whatever, you know. And like, what was that, 98? I think I was like 22 at the time. I was like, my dick was doing all the thinking. And he's like, let's give her a ride home. It can't be that far, you know. And she's like,
looked down and he's like, let's do this.
Yeah, she's like, I really appreciate it. So I'm like, yeah, it's no problem, you know. So she lived like 35 miles from this party, and I was like, this is a stupid idea. But still, I had hope. We got to her place, and I was like,
35 miles.
I go, I'm pretty drunk. Can I come in and just hang out? And she was like, I live with my parents, so bye.
Oh, no.
And I was like, fucking A. So like I was like, I have to drive home now. So I'm like going like 10 miles an hour on the highway. And thankfully, like, I saw a speed trap or whatever, and it just started like downpouring like you wouldn't believe. So like everybody had to go like 10 miles an hour.
Oh, my God.
So it took me like an hour to get home, but
that's funny.
What was your story, sir?
I have a story kind of like that. This is different. I was drinking one night.
So were you actually drunk the night you got the DUI?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, is this the story you're telling now is different from the arrest?
Yeah, this is a different.
Oh, okay.
This is just kind of like yours. This was a girl crying on the curb.
They always kid us. Why are they always crying on the curb? You ladies. Damn you ladies. Stop crying on the curb.
So she was like, we were talking, and she's like, can you give me a ride home and come in and hang out? And I was like, yeah.
Wow, she went a step further. She was
because she knew
We're
the
heading
situation.
into the
I
house when
didn't.
we get there.
So we walk in, and she's like, "God damn it!" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "My ex-boyfriend is home." And I was like,
Oh boy, yikes! And your dick is still like. So are we?
Does
still
he
doing
sleep on the
this,
couch
or
now?
Should I head out of here?
Is it two
Am I still,
bedrooms? It was pretty awkward. He's like, "You should go now."
So what did you?
And I was like,
Oh
"Yeah,
wow, that's
you're kind of
that's
big.
pretty clear.
I'll go."
You should go now.
He's like, "Thanks for bringing
So what
my
is the
vagina
night?
home."
What is the night of your? Oh yeah, thanks for giving my vagina a ride. So what was the story of the night you actually got pinched?
No, I was very, very drunk, and it's just
What was the mistake that you made that got you pulled over? I'm always interested.
This is embarrassing.
Because yeah. Oh boy.
I don't know where I went wrong, but I was going on the bridge to get home, and there's a curve that you have to go across before you go on the bridge. And I don't know, in my drunk mind, I was like, I'm gonna floor it right here.
Oh right.
I was 21.
You just fucking foot to the
I
floor and just went for
gunned
it.
it right into the guardrail.
Oh my god.
So I pull over and get out, and for I don't know, like 20 minutes, I'm just standing there looking at my car, deciding if I should try and change the tire or not. Yeah.
Oh, so the tire blew.
It was completely gone.
Oh shit.
And so was I.
So 20 minutes you're just standing there, and this is a pretty highly
it's right
trafficked street.
right on a highway.
So your fucking car is just smashed into a guardrail, and you're just standing there staring at it.
Sitting
for
outside
20
of the
minutes.
car, deciding if I should just run.
Dude, you should
I
have took
thought
off
about
running,
it. I thought about just hiding and reporting it stolen or something.
because if they can't, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but even
Just
if you
came
were
back
like,
the next day.
I loaned my car to a buddy, and he said he crashed it into a guardrail or
was-
whatever. Or if the cops came to find you the next day, like, hey, we found your car abandoned, like jammed into a guardrail. What's that about? No, I don't know. But like standing there waiting
Well,
for
I was
them
worried
to show
too.
up.
I was like, what if they have cameras and they do investigating or something? 'Cause I always worry about that stuff. But so yeah, he came, and the cop actually, a car pulled up behind me with no lights on or anything, just their headlights, and I got excited. I was like, somebody's here to help me. So I ran over to his car, and then all of a sudden there's a flashlight in my face. And he's like, have you been drinking tonight? And I was like, no. And he's like, I can smell you from here. So I went to jail.
Well, there's got to be more things in between that. So you were standing there for 20 minutes, and the cop shows
While
up.
I was standing there, I got the tire jack out of the trunk of my car, and I was like, I'm going to change this tire.
Oh my god, dude. Changing a tire drunk? That sounds like it'll work perfectly.
If you see where I put the jack, oh man, that car could have fell right on me.
You set up the jack under the headlight. Like, here we go. Let me jack this.
Completely, I think I had it in front of the tire.
You're like fucking Michael Scott from The Office, where you're actually trying to use the jack to unscrew the bolts on the wheel. You're like, doo, 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 doo. So how long were you there with your destroyed car before the police showed up? Was it 20 minutes?
It was probably more than 20 minutes. It was probably a half hour.
But you didn't call them.
No.
They just came upon you.
Yeah, what happened, I was in the process of changing the tire. Trying.
Yeah.
With the jack in the wrong spot. And a car pulls up behind me. And I got excited thinking somebody was going to help me.
Nope.
So
they're going to help you go to jail. That's about it.
That's exactly. I look back and I see him, and I was excited. I start walking towards his car, and all of a sudden there's a flashlight in my face. And he's like, "Have you been drinking tonight?" And I was like, "No."
Because you're fucking wearing like a Budweiser sports jacket.
I was wearing a Dublin pub t-shirt.
Oh, there you go. I haven't had a drink of alcohol, sir. I just felt like, why not see what happens when you run your car into a guardrail? And apparently it fucks up your car.
Walking towards him, and he's like, "I can smell you from here." And I was like 20 feet away from him.
Oh, boy. Did you do the roadside test?
Oh, yeah. I failed that.
They did the breathalyzer?
Yeah.
Do you remember your number?
I don't want to say it.
Please say it.
It was a .24.
Son of a bitch.
3
You were
times.
almost dead, buddy. I don't know if you
know.
know that. Like .3, you'd probably be dead.
Well, when I got my public defender, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry. I've seen much worse than .24.
Oh, my God.
She was
what?
dealing with a guy that blew like a .33.
That guy's like, his blood is probably alcohol. Like
Yeah.
he's pumping whiskey through his body.
At least it's good and thin. He's never.
So
gonna
you
have-
went to jail that night.
I went to jail that night.
They processed you and you stayed in there for a night and then you got bailed out the next day?
I didn't get bailed out. It's actually pretty weird. I thought I was going to get away with it. I was 22.
Oh, Randy. He's like, I've seen Law and Order. I'm going to defend myself.
I'm going to go in there.
This is quite a
Get
caper,
out there.
cops. I hope you have the evidence. Bam, 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 bam.
So, yeah, it just happened to be, it was Saturday night. The next day was Mother's Day.
Oh, that's the worst.
It
You had
was
to call your
terrible.
mom from jail to
I
wish her a
didn't.
happy Mother's Day.
I was,
Did she ever ask why you didn't fucking contact her on Mother's Day?
what happened was, I know, like, when you go to jail on a Friday or Saturday, they keep you till Monday, right?
For sure.
With me, they let me go on Sunday.
Weird.
That's why I was like,
I've never even heard of
maybe
that
this
before.
is just a scare. This didn't really just happen.
Yeah. They were probably just like,
They're like,
we got to
yeah,
clear these jails out so we can hose them out.
get him out of here.
Or maybe they were doing some Mother's Day tour of the jail. They didn't want any
They're
prisoners
like,
in
we
the
can't have this
cells.
train wreck in here. So what happened, actually, jail was quite interesting. They put me in a jail cell with this other guy. And it was
Oh, God.
probably like 2 a.m. in my
What did
orange
he do?
jumpsuit.
They actually
I had to
fucking
wear
stripped you
a-
down and put the jumpsuit on?
Yeah, they made me shower.
Oh, my
and stuff.
God, dude.
I was.
So who was... Did you ever find out what the guy did that was in the jail
Yeah,
cell with
we were
you?
talking and laughing all night because I was.
You guys were gabbing like a slumber party. Hey, officer, can we get some milk duds in here? Any chance you'll put on the fucking Babysitter Club movie?
So it was.
What were you guys talking about?
Oh, we were just laughing, and he told me what he was in there for.
What
And
was he in there for?
he was in there for assault with a deadly weapon.
Wow.
7 times.
Sounds like a nice gent.
That was his 7th time being in there.
Let me see if I can describe this guy. About 6'2", maybe about 2 bills, bald, tattoos.
Yep, a neck tattoo. That was exactly what he.
Oh, boy, I nailed that one. What were you guys talking about, though?
We were just talking about his arrest and mine.
Like, who was he assaulting 7 times? Just like
It
people
just
that
different
pissed him
people,
off?
yeah. He just got in 7 different fights, and then the thing that made us
He's
both
like that
really
fucking,
laugh was
he's like that fucking guy from Shawshank Redemption, where
That-
he starts talking about the guy that guys that give him shit. That's who he fucking assaults. He started giving me shit, so I shot him.
7 different
Him and
times.
this tasty bitch he was with.
But he looks at me and he's like, "Yeah, I got arrested earlier today for the 7th time." And then he looks at me and he's like, "But I didn't do it." And we both just start laughing.
It's like that movie Liar Liar with Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah.
Where he keeps giving the guy the jacket. He goes, "Hey, I robbed another liquor store. What should I do?" And he just screams on the phone, "Stop breaking the law, asshole!" And just hangs up the phone.
Oh, that's funny.
That's probably the same phone call he had with his
same
lawyer.
guy.
They got me again. What do I do? Stop breaking the law, asshole. So how long were you actually in the jail cell for? Was it for a full, 24 hours?
It was, I think by the time it was all said and done, it was about 12 hours.
Still, did you sleep?
A little bit, yeah. I woke up and...
And this guy was pulling your pants down. Shh. I want to tell you a story.
Why he looked out for me in there. We had to go down to eat breakfast, and I was just going to leave my bed unmade.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, you can't. You got to make it. They're going to yell at you."
The guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
He is like a regular at the jail.
They're going to yell at you. What is this, fucking 5th grade? Make your bed, Randy. Make your bed. Or you don't get breakfast.
It was a gross breakfast.
I bet it probably was. What was it? Just like liquid eggs and like
Yep,
old
liquid
biscuits?
eggs. It looked like dirty mop water in the eggs.
Oh, God.
The sausage was all right.
You like jail sausage, don't you, Randy?
Sounds terrible.
In more ways than one. Hey-o. So you two guys are pen pals now? Do you
I
send
ride
each
him
other
every
pictures?
day in the jail. We're actually probably like a mile from the jail that I was at right now.
Yikes.
I don't
Is
think
he still
so.
in prison?
No.
You guys keep
I
in
never
touch?
talked to him again, but
Do you go to the jail reunion?
right after he told me he was in there for assault with a deadly weapon, he's like, "Do you want to play some cards with me?" And I was like, "Not really. It sounds like you
that
get
code?
angry."
Yeah. Randy's like, 4 aces again. Bong, bing, bang. I guess I just want all your smokes. Did somebody bring you in cigarettes so you could keep yourself?
Keep myself in the
accustomed?
trading
You had to buy your freedom
for my 12 hours in a...
What the hell did they call them in the in
the-
Shawshank? The not the maids, but the...
It's been a long time.
Fuck, I can't think of it now. But they were like the guys that raped everybody. They had a name for
Here's
them.
your cigarettes.
I'll cast you down with the sodomites. You'll feel like you've been fucked by a train. Or am I being too obtuse? Well, I mean, did that whole experience of you being in prison, did like it actually jog yourself into being like, I need to be more careful, like I don't ever want to be back in here again? Like, did it, like they think, the people in authority feel like, you know, people go to jail for that small amount of time, it scares them straight or whatever.
I wish it did, but I was...
You do. What's that joke you do? You're 15 and 1.
The
We'll
cops
see you in the
turned drinking and
playoffs.
driving into a game. But I thought
That's
that it was going to, and like for probably like 3 weeks after that DUI, I didn't drink at all. I didn't have a driver's license or a
Yeah.
car anymore. All I had was my grandma's car. Yeah.
For sure. So you just sat in the basement and pretend like it was a jail cell.
Yep.
And he called your buddy
I was
over
pretty
at the prison.
embarrassed, so I just...
No, I think the craziest thing I was ever involved in on the road was I was doing a gig in, I think it was Eau Claire. And Hanson used to have a Wednesday room in Eau Claire called Shenanigans. And it was like a college bar. So I was there with Tony Boswell, who was a comic from North Carolina, really cool guy. And after the show, these kids were buying us shots, and we literally drank like the exact same amount of liquor. But he was like, you know, 6'1", 180, and I'm like fucking, you know, 6'6", like 350. So heading back to the hotel, there was like 2 ways that you could get into the hotel. You could take a left, go down this like auxiliary street and turn into the hotel, but some people will just go up to the thing and just hook a U-turn and then just pull into the parking lot. But there's a sign there that says no U-turn, so I was like, I've been drinking, I'm not doing that. So I took the side road and went in, and he pulled the U-turn, and he got pulled over by the cops. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and my phone was ringing, and I was like, hello? And he was like, hey man, it's Tony.
God.
you got to come down and bail me out. I'm in jail. Like, he got pinched for a DUI, and he goes, but
They're
don't
gonna
drive
seal you.
here because they're going to breathalyze you when you get here. Because I guess in what's probably the same law everywhere, that if you go to sign somebody out of
my
jail,
God.
like you can't
Right.
be under the influence of drugs and alcohol, which is a good idea. You know, like you're about to sign somebody out of prison and you're, you know, in charge of them. So it's like, so I got there and I took a taxi and I was like, this is going to be forever because I drank so much liquor that night. The guy comes out and he gives me a clipboard to fill out this paperwork, and he goes, have you been drinking tonight? And I said, yeah, but I took a taxi here. And he goes, blah, blah, blah. You have to be below a 0.0 to sign anybody out of jail. So I'm like, okay. So I did the breathalyzer, and thinking that it was going to be like 0.1 or like 0.2, and I'm like,
Right,
this
that's
is going
what
to be
they
forever.
waited to let me out.
Because they wait till you're at 0.0 for you to sign the person out.
Oh my God.
So I was 0.01.
You're like, I need to drink more.
The guy goes, this will be about 5 minutes, and I was like, yeah, I was like, holy
Was
shit.
that even alcohol?
I wasn't drunk at all.
I don't.
But, yeah, so. Have you ever had any other close calls? Like, it's terrifying, man. It's like, you know, now that I got
really,
kids,
I
I
mean,
don't
it's
really
not even
drink
worth it.
at all, really.
I drank last night, but it was
How much did that DUI cost you?
just the DUI itself with nothing else was like $1,200, and then to be on probation for 2 years was $500. Then I had to take a driving with care class, and that was another $300. So we're looking at $2,000 right there, and then
Yikes.
right, which
Well, you didn't hire
you
the
walk
lawyer. You
into
went
your
with the
public
public
defender's
defender,
office,
right?
and they're like, just
So
plead
you didn't
guilty.
have that cost.
And then she was 45 minutes late to court. She was awful. But yeah, it's like 2,000, and then all the time you miss from work to get your driver's license. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's on your
I
your
can't.
record
It's
now,
7
right?
years, and
That
it's
you have a
still
DUI.
affecting me a lot. But 3 more years,
rough.
and it'll be gone. I think it comes off here. Yeah, my insurance finally went down.
Keep it clean, Randy. Keep it clean.
That's been good.
We were also talking about the Minnesota comedy scene, which I just kind of laugh at now. It's quite a bit different nowadays than it used to be. You know, there seems to be this like
The
really
old
specific
Bennett?
divide between the new guys and the older guys. I think it's kind of it happens like most of the time. You know, there's guys that have been doing it for like 7 to 15 years, and then guys who are just starting who think they're reinventing
Their
stand-up
opinion
comedy.
matters.
Like, they're the greatest thing that's ever happened to stand-up comedy, and
Yeah, that's
well, it's just I don't need the snootiness. You know, we were talking like anytime I go out to the local scene
not
and there's not somebody there that I'm really good friends with, it's like, you know, the middle of the road guys like Gabe Noah and Chris Maddock and who was the other guy we were talking about? I don't know. But anyways, they always have this air of like they're too cool for school, you know. And like I remember when I did I was MC the last time I MC'd at the House of Comedy. They have a rule now that if you get hired, because they used to have a thing where like if you were they bring in all the famous headliners, so then they would have like the local guys do the feature spots. And then if some of the nights the headliner wasn't going to be there, like if he was just going to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then you'd get to headline like Wednesday and Sunday and then feature the rest of the weekend. Well, now that they've changed the structure of it, if you get hired as the MC, you have to be the MC the whole week. Like
so
if the headliner isn't going to be there on Wednesday or Sunday, like they just bring in other guys.
Right.
Whereas it kind of sucks, like you'd actually make a little bit more money if you could headline. But so I was emceeing there the last time, and I think it was Dave Coulier who was headlining. And Sunday he wasn't doing it, so Chris Maddock was headlining Sunday, and he came. I feel bad, but he came in, and I go, "What's your credit? What do you want me to say for your credits or whatever?" And he said, "I'm a stand-up records artist, and just voted the #1 comedian in Minneapolis." And I started laughing, and I went, "What
was that? Like a grumpy vote?"
And he got so mad at me, and I was like, "But I'm like."
Because they've seen
No,
all
it
of
was
them.
City Pages. City Pages had voted him the best comedian of like 2014, I think, or something like that. And I was like, I'm sorry for the reaction, but I'm like, you do know the comedians that are from Minneapolis,
You grilled him on it.
right?
He
I'm like, is
called
this
you
of
a
all
dick?
time or of last year?
Well, it's
And
him
he's
that
like,
brought
"You're a
up
dick,
the like.
man." And I go,
shouldn't bring up something.
Yeah,
like that.
I go, "No, I'm just
voted
asking."
#1, and then call other Minneapolis comics a dick when they laugh at you.
Just like, I don't get it. It's like, they just did a huge cover story on Dan Mogul, and I think Dan is hilarious, but it's just like the stories that they do about the comics in Minneapolis, like, they are the young guys that are coming up, I guess they got to keep it young and, connected to like the Acme scene and that kind of shit. It's just like, there's so many other comedians that are in Minneapolis.
Because those guys are always
funnier,
out of town.
working harder, but
gigs.
it's almost like they overlook them because
So
of
I
this.
guess
like, yeah,
they're not around to
I
be the
suppose that's
#1
probably the thing.
Minneapolis
they're
comic.
not around to even be seen by whoever's writing this article. They're
Yeah,
probably
those guys.
like Randy Ankarlo, Mark Poulos. Who are these guys? Oh, those are the guys that are working.
I'm still
They're
stuck that
gone.
he's. I want to read this article,
Because we were
The
talking
City
about
Pages.
like,
and it was 2014.
yeah, it's still online. Yeah,
Does he know it's 2016 now?
I think he was voted the best comedian in Minneapolis 2014. by
Oh, was
City
it?
Pages.
So
Well,
somebody else
this
still had a
was
chance
back
to
in
be-
2014. Yeah, late
be funnier.
2014. That was the last time I emceed there. But like, all I keep hearing about lately is this Mike Lester guy, and I've never met the guy. But like Doug and Dana were like, "Hey, we've been hearing this really good buzz about Mike Lester. Do you want to take him with you on like this one gig or whatever?" And maybe I'm kind of a dick sometimes when it comes to, like, I did this corporate show in Iowa last week,
Oh wow.
and Doug and Dana were like, "We hired Tiffany
corporate?
Norton to open for you."
Right.
And I'm good friends with Tiffany, but I mean, let's be honest, like, her wheelhouse is not corporate shows.
Right. That's not.
I mean, she talks about how her shit's tight and she's on Team Fuck It and all this stuff, and I'm like, but I'm not like questioning the booker. I'm like, if that's what you want, if they've
Yeah.
requested a female comedian, like, more power to them. Like, I feel like they should get more opportunities. So then we got down there, and she asked me, she goes, "So it's PG-13, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, what's your definition of PG-13?" And I said, "Well, obviously no swear words, no graphic sexual stuff.
Don't do it.
Just kind of try to, if you think that somebody might be offended about what you're about to say, you probably shouldn't say it." And she's like, "Oh, okay, sounds good." And then she got up there, and like half of her set was really good and really clean. And then the thing I see a lot nowadays when I bring a comic with on a corporate show, or they're put with me on a corporate show, is like, I feel like comics that haven't done corporate shows a lot, they have this air of like, well, yeah, it's PG-13, but like winky face, like they feel like halfway through their show they're gonna somehow like have this bond with the crowd that it's okay now for me to do all this filthy stuff. And it's like, no, it's like the show is PG-13, and as much as you feel like the crowd is with you on the vulgar stuff. Like,
you're hired
that's
to be
not
clean.
what we're hired for. Like, it's a fundraiser for the JCs. Like, so it's like,
God.
80% of her set was great, and then she started talking about how her shit was tight, and then she did this whole bit about her daughter being a part of some dick pic scandal at school, and I was like, oh man. But then after the show, like, I came down, and she had like set up the cell table and stuff for her merchandise.
All the merchandise for it.
And she didn't do the Team Fuck It joke.
Oh, no.
But she had like all of the merchandise that says Team Fuck It on it on the table. Like, she was selling license plates and bumper stickers and stuff and koozies that all said Team Fuck It on it. And I was like, I came out there and I go, so you're still going to sell it then, huh? And she's like, there's no shame in this game. Mama's got to make her money or something like that. And I'm just not very confrontational when it comes to anything. But, they were trying to force Mike Lester onto me. And, when Dana said that she booked Tiffany Norton, she's like, well, so you guys can drive
It's not
together.
fun to
there and
ride in
back.
a
And,
car with.
I have this thing where if I don't know somebody that
an
well,
awkward car
I
ride
don't
of
want to ride
silence.
in the car for 6 hours with them, even though we're saving money on gas. Like,
Right.
gas is cheap enough now, thank Christ.
I remember when we
that
would-
I can make that decision nowadays,
We did
where
a-
I can just drive by myself, because
Few of those.
there was a
triple runs
time where
that
it
we
was
did
so
together,
expensive
and,
that
when
like,
gas was up
that
to
wasn't
like
an
$4
option.
a
Like,
gallon.
you had to ride with people. Oh my God. We went into California that one time.
Get
It was
some
like
gas.
$4.99. I was like, screw this. I'll run out of gas to go to Oregon to get some cheap gas. So they, they're forcing Mike Lester on me, and I was like, he's probably funny. He's probably a good guy, but I don't know him, and I don't want to ride.
That's the way
in
it
the car
is.
with
Just
him for
because
8
you both
hours,
do comedy doesn't
I might
mean
be a dick, but I'm just like,
you're gonna talk about it for 8 hours.
yeah. And we're both from Minneapolis. It doesn't mean we're best friends. Like,
Yeah.
15 years in the business, I kind of feel like I can drive myself places and listen to my own music and not have to force conversations for 8 hours. I'm sure
Yep.
we're both been in those situations where you're on the road with somebody that you don't like.
The car rides were
I
the
can't
worst.
imagine your car rides with Dustin Diamond. I think we talked about it a bunch of times, but I mean, 8, 10, 12 hours in the car with him, and he's got
He would
his drug plate.
I hate like
and you're trying to drive him
the entire
everywhere.
car ride. He was always burping, and it sounds stupid to complain about, but yeah, but he would just burp super loud.
Oh yeah,
And, like, right
With
in my
his
direction.
reflux or whatever. Oh God. So you had taught like. I actually have never talked to somebody that's actually worked
wow.
with Mike Lester. Like, I don't think I've ever actually seen him.
He
do
actually
stand-up.
talks
Like,
about
what-
normal stuff. He's
what is,
actually
like his bits
he's
about
young.
it? Are they really weird,
And
or
he's-
does he?
he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. He talks about working
What's
at Perkins,
like the topic's just about being.
and he had some funny bits about
All
that.
right.
He had
Well, that's
braces.
helpful.
I think he still might. He talks
Okay.
about his braces. I think he's really good. I saw him at Black
Oh,
Bear,
okay.
and yeah, I did recently. He was
He did pretty well.
he was in Bismarck, North Dakota, and about 5 minutes into his set,
Bismarck, yeah.
Dakota stage.
Dakota stage, right? If you live in
Amber's
Bismarck,
great.
man,
The
damn,
entire
you need
place
to
is
frequent that.
super
It's
cool.
awesome, and they do great comedy there.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, dude. Any place you go where they give you a basket of candy
I love
before you
that
go on
place.
stage, like,
Did I tell you the
forget
letters
about it.
that
Like,
she
I'll
always
go back
writes and
there
leaves
till
for
I
us
die.
downstairs?
Like, come on.
She said, "It's good to see you finally got your shit together." Ugh.
It's so fucking funny.
After that,
Randy, you need to get your life together.
no, I
But
Heard about
were you
the
working
host
there
is
with
a
him at the
DJ
Dakota
from a radio
Stage, or
show.
you just heard about his set
And
that was
he
there?
was hosting it, and so he
Oh, okay.
he, he- yes, he
I
did.
feel like this is a tough story, Randy.
And I guess about
Did he have
5
a
minutes
tough
into
time
his
at
set,
the Dakota Stage?
this lady trying to whisper
Oh,
to her
boy.
friend was sitting maybe 3 rows back. She's just looks at her friend and she says, "This is pathetic." About
I hate that shit so much. About his set? Dude, I hate that shit so much. Like, literally the first road gig I ever
God.
did with Cocazello, like, he was just, like, getting on the road, and we did Livingston, Montana. And he was, like, doing
No,
his
that's hard.
best and, like, getting some laughs. But it was rough, man. It was a small bar. There was, like, 12 people in there. And he's just working it, and he's trying. He's just about to get to his final joke, and he paused, and this guy over at the bar was like, "Man, you are the worst comic I've ever seen." And Joe was like, "What the fuck? I'm just about to do my closer, you fucking asshole." And he goes,
It's not good.
"I'm sure it's not good." And then Joe was like,
it's
"Well,
funny,
fuck
though.
that," and he just like walked off stage. So I went on stage, and I'm like, "Dude, it's not cool." You know?
Pretty much the same thing.
You were
I was
saying that like almost the
28
exact
minutes into my
scenario
set,
happened when
and
you were
just,
at the
like
disco
Joe did, I
stage.
paused, and this guy in the back of the room just yells out, "You suck," and walks out.
You know, it's starting to seem like maybe it's not the comedians, that sometimes the audience theirs are a little rough. Because wasn't there a story that maybe Amber was talking about, or some comic posted that there was like a group of girls that were like being real shitty, and then they threw them out.
Yep.
And then they went and got the cops.
That
or
actually,
something, and
that's
they
back
backed
in
up
like 2009.
Amber
I
and
was
the Dakota
working
Stage
with
or
Scott
whatever.
Derringer. We were doing Comedy Connections in Toledo. That shut down, right?
Oh, okay.
And we had 5 bachelorette parties in one show.
Both of them are. Thank God.
And that's I thought one was enough to handle. We
my
had
God.
5. There was 5 on the Saturday early show, and
Holy fuck.
one of the brides drunk, and they kicked her out of the show, and she was like, the door opened in the club, and you can see like the counter, the ticket counter. I was on stage, and that door opened. And she is like jumping on the counter, trying to fight the ticket lady. The cops came and arrested her during my set.
Oh my God.
Have you ever had anything like that? Somebody get arrested during the comedy show?
I just don't get it. Like, I was doing, dude, so there's so much shit that's gone down while I've been, like last week or the week before last, I was in Springfield, Illinois doing Donnie B's, and it was Saturday early show, and like the MC was on stage, and they told this guy to shut up like 3 times, and he was just like talking at high volume to his friend across the table. And they were like, "Last chance," and he's like, "Go fuck yourself." And they were like, "Gone," and then he's like,
Yeah,
"I'm
and we
never
told
coming
you
back
3
here. I'm gonna tell
times."
everybody." And he goes, "Tell them what you want. You're the asshole in this situation, you know." But no, I think the craziest thing I ever saw was I was working at the Comics Cafe in
that's
Rochester,
awesome.
New York, and I was opening for Jimmy Schubert, and I think it was early show Friday. Like, there was a group of like 40-year-old ladies that were having a birthday party for a friend, and I feel like I've told this story before, but it's worth repeating. So they were interrupting me while I was on stage, but it was like harmless questions and like harmless interrupting. They weren't like heckling me.
No,
they were just
they're-
like, I do a joke.
They're just really
and then
interactive,
would
really
be like,
friendly interactive.
"That's how it is around my house." And they're like, "Oh, you crazy ladies," you know. Yeah. So apparently the bouncer went out and told Jimmy that there was a table of women to the right side of the stage that are really heckling me and like a real problem, and to just be careful when he gets up there or something like that. So he goes on stage and his first joke is about how he's Catholic and he's got Catholic guilt or something like that. And the lady in the front of the table, she was like, "Hey, I'm Catholic." And
Oh my
he just
God.
like unloaded on them. He was like, "Listen, you fucking bag of cunts. Like, nobody gives a shit what the fuck you're talking about." Like, he's like, "I will pay your check."
Wow.
if you will
Was
just
everybody-
get
what did-
outta here. Like, who
did
wants
they-
to hear another word from these dumb C words? And he stopped for a second, thinking there was going to be like this humongous applause, like
He deserved
finally somebody said something to them,
She's like,
and it
"Let's
was
get
all
outta here."
quiet. And all you heard was
that's terrible.
the lady whose birthday it was, just weeping. She just started
I
crying.
probably would have too and let him pay my check.
So then they all got up and they were like, "Fuck you," like this, that, and the other thing. So I'm setting up the cell area by the door with his stuff
Oh,
and
yeah.
my stuff, and it's kind of the same scenario. Like they have swinging doors from the
waiting.
showroom into the bar, and the whole group of women are standing there, like watching him on stage. And I told the bouncer, I go, "Hey, listen, man. I go, when this is over, they're all gonna rush in here and like try to attack him." And the same bouncer that told them
Arrogant.
that they were a problem, he was like, "Don't tell me how to do my job. Like I know how to do my job." So he gets done,
my
we gets
God.
over there, and they all just start busting through the door, and they're like trying to climb over the table to get at him. And
They were all-
he had like a security guy with him, and he was pushing them back. And
Anything because of.
by the time it
he
was all
ruined it.
sorted out, the whole room full of people were gone. Like we didn't sell anything that show. Yeah, and to think he would learn his lesson like the Late Show. There was some kid that was like saying something or other about, like he did a joke about killing panda bears or something about the environment, and this kid was like, "Yeah, it's real funny, you know, like
Those
fuck
are my
with the
favorite
environment
people
or
that
whatever," and then
show
he
up to
unleashed on
comedy
him
and
again,
just take
like,
it all
nobody
seriously.
supported him again.
That's bullshit.
So, like, so then it was like, yeah, I know that helps us. But he was like, everybody was all awkward after that show, and they just left, and we were sitting
you're
at
like,
the bar
yeah,
together.
no
and he
shit.
goes, "I'm starting to feel like my temper is interfering with our
I'd
merchandising
like to
sales."
sell some stuff.
Yeah, I was like, "Can you be nice?" But yeah, no, I mean, I told the story last week about the funny business stuff when I did Wisecrackers one time with.
Oh,
He calls himself the Teddy Bear of Comedy. What's that guy's name?
He was on stage. There was a guy kind of heckling him. He was kinda-
Shit, I'm completely blanking on his name. But he was on stage, and there was a guy kind of heckling him, and he was kind of playing with him. And the security guard told me that if you don't want to deal with a heckler, like, don't interact with him, and then we'll take care of it. So I was like, okay. So for like a half an hour, 40 minutes, I didn't interact with him. I just was on stage, like, doing my thing, and everybody's like staring at me like, say something to this guy. And when I realized they weren't going to do anything about it, I finally like unleashed on him. I'm like, "Will you just shut the fuck up?" And the guy sitting behind him
God.
was like, "You hear that? I told you to shut the fuck up." So then they started fighting. They were like
Oh,
rolling
wow.
over tables and like crashing glasses, and like the wait staff was trying to break them up, and security was nowhere to be found. Like they couldn't find him. And then when he showed up, he was all like, "Hey, I heard it was a good show."
Wow.
And I was like, "You're kidding, right? Like these two fucking guys like almost killed each other." And they're like, he's like, "What?" And like the waitresses started yelling at
Right.
him, like, "We called you like 10 times." She's like,
He probably
"We're not
got
equipped
fired.
to deal with this shit," you know. And he looked so embarrassed, and like
It's not even
he
your
took it out
fault.
on me. Like he was just a dick to me the rest of the time I was there. But yeah. No, I had one time I did Paducah, Kentucky, and there was a whole table full of people that were like just talking.
So sit
Show
out there.
going on. Guys, there's a comedy show going on. You want to keep your table talk down? And they're like, "Hey, we haven't seen each other in years, so we're going to talk." And I was like, "Well, then go someplace else, because it's all these people here. You see all these people sitting around you." I'm
Right.
like, "Take a look. You see all these people? They all paid money to see me do stand-up comedy and not listen to you guys fucking talk." And like the whole place like exploded with applause. And
Oh
like
my
they got
God.
embarrassed and they were pissed. And they got up and left, and the guy
I
was
would
like,
leave.
"You're a fucking dead man." And I was like, "Oh, great." So I got off stage. The guy paid me, and he goes, "You might want to hang out for a bit because they're all waiting for you in the parking lot." And I go, "Oh, that's nice." So I waited for like an hour and a half, and then I went out to my car, and nobody was out there. So I was like, "That's fine." But it just baffles me so many times, like. I feel like it's hard. Like we live in such a culture now of like instant stuff, you know.
Right.
That it's. I feel like it's hard sometimes for audiences to allow something to develop, you know. Like it
Right.
almost seems like
It's
the
just
comics
a
that are
ADD
doing,
economy now.
rapid fire one-liners are doing better
You don't
because
wanna
it's instant, you know.
listen for 30 seconds. We don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, it's like nobody will sit there to let you kind of develop a joke. Like
That
let
was
me-
twice in,
let me tell you this
6
story.
months. I was
if you're
doing
like, boring.
I was doing
Get to
Rookies
the joke.
in South Dakota, and I did the Comedy Caravan. And two middle-aged women, both like right in the middle of my set, just yell out "boring." It happened twice within 6 months, and I was like, "Wow, maybe it's the same lady." She just showed up.
Oh my God.
She just boring.
She's just following you to ruin your life. Every show you do.
Oh,
boring.
yeah.
She's like your
That guy.
fucking.
But
what the hell
I
is
was
that
happy to
guy's
find
name
out that they
from
both.
the Sandler movies where he just keeps
One
showing.
lady just left and
boring.
didn't pay her tab or anything. So, and then the other lady was just drunk too and got kicked out.
Great. Sounds like a genuine human being. It just, I think that's probably the thing that drives me the most insane now is like with YouTube and Facebook and
That's
Instagram
exactly
and
what
Snapchat
they-
and stuff. I think people just have an air of what we do on stage is easy as hell.
Right.
And like they could do it in a heartbeat if they felt like they just
you're a-
you know, it's like I could do that if I wanted to. Like I don't really want to, but I could do that if I wanted. It's like I challenge those fucking people all the time now because it drives me insane when I'm like
people
doing a show
Right.
and somebody's like
All of the
yeah,
time, I can't even tell you how many
I've
times
seen
somebody's
better,
been
you
like,
know.
"You
It's
do
like I
comedy?"
could do better.
If
Well, then
you
get
can
up
do it,
here
I can.
and do a joke.
Oh,
Let's
what
hear
a
it,
dick!
you know. Yeah. I can't remember what the story was, but there was a guy who somebody kept like giving him shit like he could do better or whatever, and he was like, "Fine, go ahead." And then
No,
he
that's
sat in the
funny.
front row and like heckled everything that this guy was doing, so he couldn't do anything. And he's like, "Well, you're not letting me do anything." And he's like, "Yeah,
Oh,
see
I
how
love
it
Drew
feels?
Hastings.
Now go fucking sit down." I think my favorite story of a heckler was Drew Hastings was doing Peoria, and I was opening up for him, and he was about like 10 or 15 minutes into his act, and this guy in the front row had his arms crossed, and he wasn't laughing at anything. And he goes, "Sir, it looks like you're not having a good time." And he goes, "Well, I haven't found anything funny yet." And he goes, "How much was your ticket price, sir?" And he goes, "It was $15."
Oh, yeah.
So like, I don't know if this was a bit that Drew does from time to time, but he had 15 singles on him.
Every
So
time.
I kind of feel like maybe it was a bit, but he gives the guy this thing at like 15 singles. And he goes, "There's your ticket price back." But he goes, "Every time I make you laugh, you have to give me $1 back." So like the rest of his set, he's doing this thing where he's like, "You owe me $1," and like he pay him $1 or whatever. And then he got to the end of the show, and he did this huge closer.
That's funny.
And right at the end of it, he goes, "You owe me $17," and walked off stage because he counted all the laughs. So it's just like that stuff drives me insane. Like, and you can see it all the
Right.
time. Just this like disrespect
It
from
is
the
difficult
audience
more than
for what we do on stage. Like, I'm not saying it's rocket science, but it's difficult. There are hundreds of people that try this every day, and they wash out of it really quick because of a few things. Like, hey, they
who you
don't
are,
have
you're
the
gonna face a
constitution
lot
to
of
continue
rejection.
with it. they can't take the rejection and continue to
kind
want
of-
to do it.
I
Of
think the
course. Or they just
rejection is
plain
part of the
don't
fun
have
of
the
it. It's
talent
pretty
to
funny
do it.
when
They don't know how to write or perform, or one or the other. Like, yeah. I think Jimmy Wiggins was the one guy who, God rest his soul, told me. He goes, there's 3 types of comedians in this world.
we
There's
need
the
all
ones
3
that
of
are
'em.
naturally funny, the ones that
So we
can
need
learn
all
to be
3 of the
funny, and
kinds.
the ones that will never be funny. And it's like, what? Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I don't want to get on my soapbox, but it's something
you can
that I've
see their
noticed.
blue lights
like,
lighting up their face. They're trying to
hard
hide
in
it.
the last few years, the people on their fucking phones during the show, Yeah. They can't fucking pay attention for 90 minutes. Like, they're just so distracted with everything else that's going on in their life. But I don't want to focus on the bad. Like, there are so many people that love stand-up comedy, and like, they really like go far to like see you do it if they like what you do. I've had people like I did Maryville, and then I was in Grand Rapids, and there was like a group of people that
awesome.
drove from Maryville to go to Grand Rapids to watch me do stand-up, and like that
It's
type
so
of shit just
it's so
blows my
cool
mind still
getting to
this
travel
day.
and see things
I'm
that
like,
you
you
would
drove
never
that far to see me do
even
what?
know existed,
Like,
and
what?
meeting people, like hundreds of people.
Of course, man. Dude, I've been to 46 states now,
Yeah,
and I've seen more of this country than I think probably 90% of the country has.
Oh wow!
And to think, like, before I started
I
stand-up
remember
comedy, like
being
the furthest I
being
drove
younger, a
by
teenager,
myself
and living in
was,
Grand
like,
Junction,
Mankato.
Colorado, and
Yeah.
thinking like Denver is the longest drive I've ever seen in my life. It's only like 4 hours now. If you get a show within 4 hours, you're like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's nothing. But
That's the sweet spot.
we got some
You got
shows
any
coming
parting
up.
thoughts, Randy, for this podcast extravaganza? Any this is
not
going to
next
come up.
week,
This is going to come
I
up
think.
in
Oh, yeah, actually, I do.
It'll be posted Wednesday
doing,
this week. So do you have
St.
any
Michael.
shows next week?
Minnesota at the Lay Music
I've got-
Room, Lay
All right.
Musica. Adrian Washington.
Nice.
He's
Who books that?
he's with Aaron Imholt.
Adrian. All right.
That
I've
group
not
of
met
dudes,
that
the St.
gent.
Cloud fellers,
Oh, okay. That
Safari
group of
Marks.
dudes.
That's awesome.
I will be at Safari Marks in Sedan, Kansas.
Hill City. Where are you
And
going
then
in Hill City?
Saturday I'm doing Hill
Oh,
City,
okay.
South Dakota.
The
some-
Naked Winery.
Some kind of wine place, the Naked
Oh, wow.
Winery. It's one of Jeff's rooms, I guess. Kurt Fletcher was there last week, so I like to test myself on drives.
It's like a
So I've
triple run.
It's like 10 hours to Sedan, and then it's like 12 back to Hill City, and then like 10 back home. So that should be a fun trek, yeah, to say the least. But I'm excited to go back to Sedan. It's a great room, and I talked to the guy over in Hill City, and he said it's a good
We
buzz
got
over there for
20-minute
comedy.
drive.
So it's always nice to do these gigs. Tonight we're at
The night
the
before the
Doghouse
show
in
even
Canyon,
happened.
Minnesota. Already sold out. That's always nice to see, and
Thank you.
don't even have to sweat it.
I got
We're gonna kill it
Facebook.
tonight.
Randy and Carlo.
Randy,
Twitter,
thanks for being on the program.
at Randy and Carlo.
You got any social media you want to plug?
MySpace. No Instagram.
Right. What's your Twitter?
Nope.
There it is. Instagram? Okay. Website? All right. Get with the times, Randy. Of course, my website is always largedrunkman.com. Check out the dates I put up there. Some of the Michael Cabanero shows are coming up, so get out to those, and like I said, this week I'll be in Sedan and Hill City. If you're in those areas, come see a show.